started branching out and started doing cold calls, informational interviews. And what I found out is that tell people, if you tell your story, you're not so rigid in your profile. You have to kind of make it more personable. And there's a couple hacks that I learned along the way, and we can definitely talk about that, at a later date or some other time. So once I had my profile looking pretty decent, I just started reaching out. And what I learned is once you tell someone, hey, Victoria, I understand that you're into, journalism. I'm really interested in journalism. I'm a veteran, getting ready to get out in a year, 2 years, right? Because you want to, and I'll tell you more about that. So, this was like in 2016, and I didn't retire out of the military until late 2018. So, yeah, 2018.
So you started early.
Yeah, actually, I started before that. 2013 is when I started transitioning.
Okay.
Yep. So about 5 years in advance. But again, you just, it's just, I'm a big planner, goal setting. You put the goal out there and so I already knew roughly when I wanted to get out of the military. So I started making the conditions to get ready for that. And then on LinkedIn, I started getting really active in 2014. That's when I started reaching out to get a lot of the informational interviews. And that increased over time because there's just so many industries and it's so hard not even as a veteran, anyone that's transitioning into a different career or to a new career, even in college, like, I have a daughter who's in college, she's a freshman and she's still trying to figure out what she wants to do in life, and it's hard. There's just so many wonderful things to get into. So how do you know? How do you pick? There's a lot of questions like, what do you like to do? What did you do when you were a kid? So you have to do a lot of inward soul searching. There's a book out there, what you got to understand your why, right? Simon Sinek, I think is his name. My why is to clear a path for people to reach their maximum potential. Sometimes they reach it, sometimes they don't, but I think for me, it's important to protect them so that they can go out there and get after it how they see fit, right? So understanding your why was for me, or your purpose was a big step. And I often ask people that when I interview them, like, what's your purpose? Like, what do you want to do? Starting with veterans, and if you can't figure that out, I can't do that for you. I can kind of coach and help you, but you have to do that kind of on your own and, go somewhere and think about it and reflect. Throwing a big net from, biomedical to 3D printing to, drones. I mean, I've spoken to so many CEOs in so many different career fields or industries, and again, I'm a veteran. I'm interested to know more about what you're doing. I wasn't asking them for a job. It was just, tell me how you got into it. And are you available next Wednesday at 3:00 or Thursday? Make it easy for me to make a decision that supports you, and that's something that I certainly learned when I was in the military, talking to my bosses, like, hey, here's a couple recommendations. Here's the one I think. The minute that I realized that I wanted to get into healthcare, and with a tech spin on it, it made life so much easier because as you go through, and again, I had this time to decide, right? So a lot of informational interviews, what you'll see and again, I don't like saying veterans because I think anyone that's trying to do a transition into something new, this happens to them, right? You get all these, these bright, shiny objects that come through like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. This sounds pretty cool. But if you're not focused, if you don't know your purpose, and you don't have your goals lined correctly, then when those bright, shiny objects come up, you're gonna get off track. And before you know it, you're 52, 55 years old, 60, not happy with what your job is, reflecting back on, man, I wish I was jumping out of airplanes again. It's just, you're living in the past, right?
Sure.
And I can say that because I've seen that certainly from different folks that I've tried to coach and mentor, trying to get them, what is it you want to do now? What do you want to do tomorrow? What happened to you in the military, what you did, that's great. It's a part of you, but don't let it be you. It's not, it should not define you for the rest of your life. And that's a hard break for people. I found it easy by just knowing where I wanted to go. And when something came in that it wasn't pertaining to even though it was pretty cool, if it didn't align to what I wanted to do, I just had to, intentionally turn it off and focus elsewhere. And I have hit a lot of bumps in the road. I've failed a lot. And I'm still failing left and right. But I always say, fail forward, just learn from it and just keep going. When I got out of the military, I posted a video on LinkedIn in January of 2018. The next day that I posted a video, and I held on to this video for about 2 years. It was, in essence, a video resume. You can see it on my LinkedIn profile. I held on to that video for about 2 years. And again, strategically, because I knew if I posted that video early on, I wasn't going to be able to get out of the military. I was still in, right? So in January, I have a year. Within 24 hours of me posting that video, the gentleman, Sanford Health, he reached out to me and we started developing a relationship. I think Brian, I ended up working for Sanford Health and for Brian. So that was what LinkedIn did. Before that, after that, it was staying engaged. You stay engaged with your network. Now I have like over 2,000 connections. I don't connect daily with 2,000. Again, I focused on folks that can help me better understand a new industry that I never, I was interested in, but I didn't really know too much about it, healthcare. And I reached out to them and I asked them for help. Again, I didn't ask for a job. I just asked them, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Or, and I was really grateful and lucky that they were willing to give me advice. And some of them I'm still connected with and reach out to them. LinkedIn allowed me to connect with an individual that is a father figure to me. He's my mentor, and he's been a mentor of mine now for 4 or 5 years. And when I hit the lows, and I've hit some serious lows in the past 2 years, he's a person that I reach out to. I highly recommend the premium.
Okay.
As a veteran, you get it for free for 1 year. So definitely that last year, this is a choice that you have to make, right? So if they only give it to you for 1 year, you can do it the year you're getting ready to get out. Or before that, you got to kind of think it through, right? Because what value does the premium? So what does it bring? So for me, the premium allowed me to see who was looking at my profile. You get some better insights into the company's jobs. What are the average salaries for certain jobs through LinkedIn? There's other ways you can tap into other resources, but the insights that premium gives you were invaluable. The beauty of LinkedIn is that, who do you connect with? I knew right off the bat, I did not want to connect. I didn't want to connect really to too many recruiters. Early on, I needed, I wanted to do informational interviews. Who better to connect to an informational interview than a hiring manager that's gotten to that position, or senior executive. most people will tend to say, you know what, I'll give you an opportunity to chat with you. And really, you keep it short, right? You'll say 30 minutes. These are our little hacks. You set up, would love to have 15 minutes of your time. Who doesn't have 15 minutes or even 30 minutes? If someone asks me for an information interview for a 30-minute block, automatically I'm like, all right, 30 minutes is a lot. To ingratiate yourself with that person that you're trying to get some information on, cut their interviews short, and that'll be memorable, right? Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, you'd say, "Hey, listen, I know you've got 30 minutes." This I learned from a CEO at a tech company. You tell that individual, "I know you've got, I know we're blocked for 30 minutes, but really, I just really need 15 minutes, and really value your time, and I'm sure you're gonna do great things with it." So most people are gonna appreciate that, and next time they're gonna be more willing to connect with you or connect you to someone else that your work that they may know. I've heard no a few times. On many different situations. I interviewed 25 times when I started getting out with yes. I had about 25 interviews before I got one that says yes. Most people said yes. Rarely did they say no. So I was pretty fortunate. Again, I made it easier for them.
Yeah.
You know what? There was probably a few times where because I would connect with them first. Premium allows you to do some in-mails too, but I found out that if I couldn't connect with the person because they didn't have they had their settings a little bit more secure. Mm-hmm. As long as I can connect someone within their company, I was able to connect with them. So again, it's a strategy. Because I'm sure you see it, someone connects with you on LinkedIn, you can see where you guys have shared connections. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're connected, Victoria. I mean, how we connected, Victoria says, meet with you. I don't even think twice about that. So it's, so they're important. But if someone said no, and they have, they wouldn't reply back, I would just go a different route. The companies have more than one person in there. And again, don't, even today, like don't take it personal. Right now I've got a lot of messages on LinkedIn that I haven't gone to for easily over a month. And that's my fault. That's a failure on my part, to be honest with you. But right now it's a risk that I'm willing to take because I have a lot to learn in this new role. Don't take it personal. You don't know what the other person is working through right now. One of the biggest things that is really helpful is when you're talking to a CEO and they're asking you, or even not even a CEO, someone within a company that wants to help you, and they never have I spoken with someone that said, "Look, what do you want? Like, I've got nothing for you." The hardest question, and it took me a while to figure this one out, is what do you want to do? Or how can I help? And we fumble that. It's that elevator pitch. I want to get into the healthcare industry. I'm really interested in operations. I have a background in XXX. I have a written elevator script, or I wrote it down when I was going through the transition. And one of my other mentors mentioned have your pocket stories. And no kidding, I would have an Excel spreadsheet with different pocket stories that highlight certain things, and they have to be quick. And it just takes practice. Every informational interview is an interview. Somebody says there's a book out there, an article, about 50 cups of coffee. No kidding. I had like 300 in like months. And it was a routine. It was just, I blocked out, a couple hours during a week, an hour here or there during lunch break. And I just had that designated for, informational interviews, and you just would do it. And my wife would tell you it was, the last year that I was getting ready out of the military, it was, I had a regular job and I had a job to transition out. It was rough. Anything that I can do to help veterans and or help MVP vets. I mean, that MVP vets was one of the first sites that I went to learn about this industry. And no kidding, it was spot on. It was spot on. So anything that I can do to help, I'm more than happy to.